Hello everybody, it's my favorite time of the month, and that is the first of the month because not only do I get to restart a new budget but also refresh my net worth. Look at all of this green. But before I get into the nitty-gritty details of what those numbers look like, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of context as to who I am and my journey with personal finance. So if you don't already know, my name is Yvonne and I've been in Korea for quite some time. I came here in 2019. I'm originally from Canada and I have been working as an English teacher ever since. I haven't changed jobs, I haven't changed schools. I've only ever moved once, and that meant that I didn't really incur a lot of moving expenses, nor did I have to worry too much about having to pay a big deposit for a home. I also do not have any debt. I do have a few credit cards, however those balances are paid off every single month, and therefore when it comes to my net worth, these are all the money that I have in regards to my savings account, my checking, and then my investments as well. So my main goal in Korea was to be able to build passive income legally as an English teacher here. I knew that my income is quite low, and so I didn't really have any other opportunities outside of my salary job to build wealth, especially when it comes to retirement. I forgot to mention that I'm currently wearing a scar band-aid on my nose right now because I accidentally scratched myself playing volleyball with the other teachers yesterday. So you're going to notice that throughout the entire video. So if you're wondering what that is, that's a scar band-aid. I still don't know whether or not I want to continue living here for a long time. For the sake of trying to future-proof myself and trying to build a nest egg for whatever emergencies that came, I wanted to be able to save enough money for me to be able to tackle those circumstances and not be poor. So I started to really look into what investment looks like in Korea as an expat, or what I consider myself to be an immigrant. As an English teacher in Korea, I really don't make a lot of money. I consider myself to be quite low income, but others might feel differently. And I wanted to be able to build a nest egg for myself, whether that be for a retirement fund or an emergency fund, just in case I do decide to stay here long term, or in case an emergency does happen. I am still unsure where I stand in regards to how long I want to stay here for, but I knew that I wanted to continue to invest my Korean money into the Korean stock market. And so that's when I decided to start doing a lot of research. I had to jump through so many hurdles to be able to open up an investment account here in Korea. The language for financial terms is so different and it's definitely a lot more complicated, but I was able to be at a spot where I'm very comfortable with the financial system here in Korea. So if I'm able to do it, you can too. It just takes a little bit of effort and some research, and then you'll get to a place where, you know, it won't be as daunting as I felt like it was in the beginning. So I wanted to dive into my history in Korea in regards to my finances. My first year here, I would just spend all my money. Every single paycheck, I would just spend it. I was literally living paycheck to paycheck, and I didn't want to experience Korea with financial limitations, which is why I just spent whatever I wanted to, bought whatever I could, and just enjoyed myself, like living that life. It was to the point where like I would go to a coffee shop and then the worker would be like, you have insufficient funds in your card. Like, it wasn't that bad because that only happened like a few times, but I was spending quite a lot in my first year. Now, come to year 2 of me being in Korea, that's when I decided to lock in and give myself a little bit more of a restriction in regards to like how much I should be spending each month, how much I should be saving. Now, at this point in time, I wasn't looking into investing. I was just mostly looking into saving my money. So I was looking into savings accounts that they had here in Korea, which were Yeogum and Jogum. So every single month, I would put in X amount of money, and then at the end of my term, I would get that money back plus a little bit of interest, maybe like 4%, but then I would have to pay like 15% of tax on it. I thought it was a good and safe choice for me to save money, but I started to really dabble with investing more into the Korean market just because I knew that there was a lot more potential there. I already had Canadian investments at this point and they were doing really well, so I wanted to take that experience and bring it over to Korea because I knew that I could make a lot more money by investing into the stock market in Korea as opposed to just putting my money into a high yield savings account. I am sorry if you hear background noise because my window is open. My cats are enjoying the view right now. Actually, let me just take a picture for you guys to see. I don't want to close the window because I think they're really enjoying the view right now, so I'm just gonna leave it open and just hope that no cars pass my window. Years 2 and 3 was when I was really into the whole high yield savings account. So I was putting my money into all these accounts every single month, Coming into year 4 was when I decided to be a little bit more serious about the idea of opening up an investment account and trying my hands at investing into the Korean stock market. I had to do so much research before I could open up an account. This meant I had to research about where I can open an account as a foreigner, what I can invest in, and there was so much financial terminology in Korean that I had to learn and translate. But it was all worth it because now I can say that I'm completely comfortable with the financial system here in Korea. So a lot of foreigners will actually recommend that you open an investment account at Mirae Assets or Samsung. Now, there weren't any Mirae Asset branches in my city, so I decided to open one up at Samsung, and on a whim opens one up at Shinhan. Were so great. They were so nice. The tellers at the security companies were so much nicer than the average bank teller that you would normally get here. They were so helpful. They gave me all the information, and this is when I learned a few different things that might be of interest to you. One of the restrictions of opening up an investment account as a foreigner is that depending on your nationality, you could be restricted from only being able to buy domestic stocks and ETFs. Specifically, if you are Canadian or if you are an American citizen, you're not able to buy any stocks outside of Korea. So that means that you are not able to invest in VOO, SPY, VFV, Tesla, Amazon, things like that. You're able to buy ETFs that track the indexes, but you're not able to buy international stocks. The reason being is that it's due to a tax treaty or agreement with Canada and America, where it has something to do with being able to track all of your profits and money abroad. I'm not gonna get into it too much because I myself don't know a lot about it, but I do know that Canadians and Americans are very restricted on what they can and cannot purchase into a brokerage account. Another thing to mention is that if you receive your severance pay into an IRP account or a DC account or even a different account altogether, you're able to actually invest your severance money into the stock market, which is what I did. I'm gonna go over the nitty-gritty details of what my investments pretty much entails. Enough yapping, let's just get into what my net worth looks like. I literally have 8 accounts in Korea. This is across my savings, my checking, and my investment accounts. Any bank that goes and tells you that you can open more than one account, completely wrong, because I literally have like an account for every single bank there is out there. And the reason being is that I had to open up all of these savings accounts, and instead of me having to go inside the branch every time my account would expire, I would just open up a corresponding checking account at the same bank, and then every time my savings accounts would expire, then the money automatically gets transferred to my checking account, which is why I have so many accounts open. Depending on the bank, sometimes they'll give you better interest rates, and that's why I have like so many, but I keep them open because you never know when you might need them. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into what I have for each account. I think that's gonna bore you and drive you up the wall. So I decided to break this all into 3 categories. I have savings, checking, and investment. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that I do not have any debt. So all of this money is coming from my bank accounts. And I also do have credit cards, but again, those balances are paid off every single month anyways. So this is just purely my net worth without any debt. I'm gonna be looking at my monitor here, so if I'm looking this way, I'm just checking my numbers. For checking, we have a total of 506,490 Korean won. This is across the 8 accounts that I have. For savings, I have a total of 20,051,409 Korean won, and then for my investments, I have 25,227,477 Korean won. So my net worth has increased by 4.03% from the previous month, and I tend to update my net worth at the first of the month. My total net worth is 45,785,376 Korean won. There is literally so many motorbikes going past my window right now. I don't know why, but it's getting really hard to film. Okay, we're just gonna power through and try to finish this before more bikes go by my window. All right, so I'm very proud of myself for this number. I'm actually quite happy about it. And a lot of this number comes from me investing into my severance account. So I was originally in the DR account type with non-help, and then I changed it to a DC type. Under the DR account type, I only got like less than 3% interest on my severance pay. And then I decided to change it to a DC account where I'm able to invest and just self-manage it myself. And that meant I was able to pick my own ETFs, my stocks, things like that. Over the duration of 2 years, to this day actually, it was Chuseok holiday that I decided to change over my portfolio grew up to 36% over the course of 2 years. So I'm very happy about that. If this is not your sign to start investing into your brokerage accounts, at least invest your severance. When I look at these numbers, it gives me a sense of peace and stability because I don't make a lot of money per month, but being able to invest and have passive income through investing has really helped me not only have a sense of stability here in Korea, but also know that I am doing something right. That is pretty much my net worth update for the month of October. I hope you enjoyed this video or found it insightful or helpful. If you did, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one.